When you think of a music legend, what comes to mind? Probably sold out stadiums, platinum records, faces you'd recognize anywhere, right? We think about the artists who basically define an era. But what if I told you the real story of music? The actual engine that drives it all forward isn't happening in the spotlight at all. Let's dive into the story of the Unheard and really uncover how they shape the music we all love.
So let me ask you straight up, what truly makes a music legend? Is it the number of streams they get? The awards sitting on their shelf? The money in their bank account?
Because, and this is what's so cool, some really fascinating research suggests that the most influential artists, well, they might just be the ones you've never even heard of.
Now, to really get this, we have to look past the usual rock star story. We're going to go backstage, away from all the big budget productions and the media hype.
Yeah, this is the story we all know, the one we see in movies, right? The meteoric rise, the worldwide fame, becoming this larger-than-life icon. It's a fantastic story, for sure, but it's only part of the picture. It actually hides a much deeper truth about where music really comes from. And this phrase just nails it. Stories from the backstage of rock. This is where the magic really happens. It's all about the stuff you don't see, the hard work, the local connections, and the cramped, sweaty rooms where music is actually born.
Which brings us to the big idea of this whole explainer. The real foundation of any great music scene isn't that handful of superstars you see on TV. Nope. It's the huge network of local, unheard artists who are building it from the ground up every single day.
Okay, so if influence isn't just about record sales and fame, how in the world do we measure it? Well, to do that, we need to start thinking about a completely different kind of currency. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This slide breaks down two totally different ways of thinking about value. On one side, you've got mainstream success. It runs on what we call economic capital, basically money and fame. But on the other side, you've got local influence, and that runs on something called cultural capital. This is all about authenticity, real community bonds, and that insider knowledge that you just can't buy. So what is cultural capital, really? Well, think of it like this. It's the respect, the street cred, and the genuine connection a band builds inside its own community. It's a type of wealth that never shows up on the Billboard charts, but man, on the local level, it is incredibly powerful. All right, let's stop talking theory and get real. To see this in action, we're going to head to Teresina, a city in northeast Brazil, to talk about a band that is the perfect example of this whole idea. A band called Scud.
So Teresina has this incredibly rich rock scene, but it's one of those places that's often overlooked by the wider world. And Scud, they've been a cornerstone of that scene for decades, without ever really hitting it big nationally. That's what makes them the perfect case study for how this local influence actually works. And their journey just says it all. This isn't some overnight success story. It's a story about pure persistence, about digging into their community year after year, show after show, until they became this reliable, respected cultural anchor. Their power comes from just sticking around. This quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it. Their influence wasn't built on slick marketing campaigns. It was built on the real, gritty backstage stuff, the struggle, the DIY spirit, and the deep friendships they built with other musicians and fans. That's where true authenticity comes from. Okay, so what does this impact actually look like on the ground? Let's break down how a band like Scud actively builds and holds up an entire musical world around them. It's really a four-step thing. First, they create a sound that is uniquely theirs, uniquely from their city. Second, they act as mentors, passing down what they've learned to the next generation. Third, they literally build the infrastructure by putting on their own shows. And finally, they become a source of local pride, of local identity. See, they're not just playing music, they are community architects. You can almost see their influence like ripples in a pond. They inspire new musicians to pick up a guitar. They actually shape what the local audience wants to hear and what they value in music. And maybe the most important thing of all, they built this incredible sense of community pride around something everyone loves.
Okay, let's zoom back out. What does the story of a band from a city in Brazil mean for the rest of us? Well, it gives us a brand new way to look at our own hometowns.
When you get right down to it, here's the bottom line. Music history isn't just written by the names in the big headlines. It's built on a foundation that was laid by thousands and thousands of unheard bands in towns and cities all over the world. The biggest acts we know and love are, in many ways, standing on the shoulders of these local giants. And that leaves us with one final question for you to really think about. Who are the bands in your town that have been playing for years, shaping the scene and inspiring other people, all without the fame? Who are your city's unheard heroes?